I've been flying through games on my Xbox. So far I've beaten Halo 1, 2 and 3, and I've decided to put that on the back burner. Now it's time to look at arguably the second biggest exclusive franchise that Xbox own. Here is a PlayStation fanboy on Gears of War Ultimate Edition. Released all the way back in 2006, Gears of War was Cliffy B's brainchild. I was only 8 when it released, so there's no way I would have been playing this game. By the looks of it, it seems Xbox were looking for the next best hit. Sony at the time had their hands in an insane amount of franchises that were at home on the consoles, and apart from a few exclusives like Knights of the Old Republic, Fable, and of course Halo, Microsoft were struggling to have the wide array of series that would entice fans. And I think this is evident to this day really. Yes, they still have Halo, Gears, now Forza and Ori, but they don't have the long-standing characters that Sony have like Nathan Drake, Sackboy and Ratchet & Clank. Once again, I had to get some mention about PlayStation in here. Gears of War is one of the most fun third-person shooters I have ever played. While I don't think it does anything new apart from the reload mechanic, it is an extremely well-designed and polished cover-based shooter. So let's start with the setting. From a distance I thought Gears was a lot like Resistance, in both setting and aesthetic, but turns out it's not even set on Earth. The game takes place on Serra, set after the events of E-Day, which has caused the long dormant species of the Locust to burrow out of the ground and take the planet for themselves. I love this setup. I was expecting the Locust to be some alien that landed on Earth, but the fact that the planet is as much theirs as it is the humans, it makes for a great dynamic. So all hell breaks loose and the humans are on their last legs trying to fight off the Locusts. Introduce Marcus Phoenix, our beefy protagonist who the second I heard him knew he was voiced by John DiMaggio, who was known for his work on Futurama as Bender. There's something about the character design here. I mean it works, but seriously, it's like they took the ARC character creation and turned the chin slider all the way up to 47. Every single character looks like they snorted steroids, drank a whole tub of protein powder, and then for dessert ate a whole cow, bones and all. Now, the Locusts stand out. I like their backstory, but their design is even better. They're as beefy as the humans, with scaly skin, glowing eyes, and these big feck-off teeth. It's safe to say I had a lot of fun blowing their heads off their shoulders. And that leads me into the action. Firstly, the pacing of this game is amazing. After a tiny intro cutscene, you jump straight into the action. You're even given the option to skip the tutorial, which I did because I'm just that good at games. Halo's guns felt good, but Epic said feck you to Master Chief and made some of the most visceral combat ever. Halo was Microsoft's deep space shooter, and Gears is Microsoft's deep base shooter. I really tried to come up with an inventive line, that's probably the best I could do. You can hear this in Marcus's voice from the start.
Where are we going?
And you sure as hell can feel it when popping Locust heads off.
Oh yeah!
While there's a small arsenal of guns, each one feels fantastic to shoot. My favourites being the shotgun and the hammer Dawn. And let's not forget the chainsaw bayonet. This epitomises the tone of this game. It might look a bit janky, but when you pull it off, it's great. We've established that the setting is cool. The story, however, is just a typical put an end to the evil monsters and save the day. Where it shines is the squad that accompany you along the way. Here we have Marcus, Dom, Marcus's best friend, Bard, the sarcastic tech guy, and the most over-the-top yet brilliant Cole, or Cole Train as everyone calls him. This game is extremely dark and depressing, so the hoorah military speak breaks it up. I'm not going to say that the relationship between the four is groundbreaking art, but it's amusing. They do come across genuine friends who just take the piss out of one another, and I really like it.
Look who decided to show up. The Locusts are outside! Yeah. Whoa! Bring it on, baby!
Bromances get to me, so I have a feeling this trilogy won't end too well for my tear ducts. Now on to the part where I mention some bits that specifically stood out to me for better or worse. So the good things, the reload mechanic. Something so simple yet unique. When you reload, there's a little bar that if you tap reload again at the right time, you either get extra damage on your next clip if you hit the sweet spot, or just a quicker reload if you hit the grey area. Anything outside of this, you feck up your reload. It's just a little thing that makes a gameplay loop that slight bit more engaging, and the risk-reward system would be great in multiplayer. The next are the krill. These bat-looking yolks were used really cleverly. Once it hits night time, you come out and attack anything in the dark, so you have to quickly move from street lamp to street lamp or shoot propane tanks to light up your way. I loved the first encounter with these, it mixed up the gameplay a bit. The next good thing I want to mention is the Brumac fight. This abomination was stalking you for a good chunk of the game, and I thought the boss fight was extremely fun. Now, unfortunately, the same thing cannot be said for the final boss. General Ram. He's the definition of an out-and-out prick. One of the worst bosses I've ever fought in a game to date. I enjoyed moving up the train to get to him, but once you get there, fighting him is infuriating. You know that krill mechanic I was just talking about? Well, imagine a boss who was covered in them, would throw them at you, and kill you in basically an instant. all while barely even knowing why you died. It felt like there were spots that the krill wouldn't get me on one run, but the next I'd stay in the same spot and get killed by them. Whoever designed this boss should hang their head in shame. It no joke took me like 45 minutes to kill him, and I was glad it was over. One last thing I want to point out before we wrap up is the sprinting animation. I've never felt more nauseous running in a game, and I've played full movement VR shooters. I seriously cannot wrap my head around the sprinting animation. I'm hoping in future games it's not as shaky, but we'll have to wait and see. One last thing that I didn't write in the script but I also want to mention. The shakiness on the turrets is absolutely atrocious. You can barely see what you're shooting. Once again, it actually made me nauseous, so I very rarely use the turrets. So there we have it, Gears of War 1. This game is so much better than Uncharted 1 as a third-person shooter. I'm surprised at how invested I am in the characters, and the shooting feels so good. Now, I don't think Marcus is anywhere near Nathan Drake, and none of his 3 squad mates hold a candle to Sully. But as a package, it's leaps and bounds above Uncharted 1. Let's hope that Gears 2 has as big a leap of quality as Uncharted 1 had to Uncharted 2. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate each and every one of you. Don't forget to subscribe and join the Discord down below, and I'll see you all on the next video.